Thanks for being our lovely third basket lady. I just have a couple of questions that we would like to share with you. And first of all, were you surprised by your basket at your door?
I was, because I was actually in the garden, front garden at the time, because we live on a corner block. So my vegetable garden is in the front yard, because that's logical, yeah? That's where it gets all the sun, because the backyard has a rather large pool in it.
Now, so I'll jump in, Andrea. I'm not sure if you're aware that we had Marie on here last week, and she gave us her version of the events, and we would love to hear what was.
Well, I was out the front and I saw this car go down the street, and I'm like, oh, they're lost, because we live in a dead-end street, and the only people that go down are Alison and her family and the other neighbours, and then people that are lost. So I saw this car go down and then drive back up the street on the phone. I'm like, oh, they're clearly lost. And then the car turned around and came back, and I was like, well, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
And then the lady gets out with a pink basket, and I look up and I was like, oh, I know what that is. And so then we had a lovely chat about the basket and what we'd been doing and what our kids were doing, and what was in the garden, and it was lovely. Actually, I saw Marie. I was coming home yesterday afternoon because I took my Zave to the orthodontist to get a check. And as I was coming down Ryder Street, turning into whatever the next one is to go down to George, I saw Marie and some people standing out the front of a house, and I waved, and I think she thought I was some weird random person in a car waving at her, but I recognised her because she had tinted glasses.
It wasn't a weirdo, it was Andrea. Oh, well, actually.
Maybe she was weirdo. Who knows?
Alison, weirdo?
Same. I did suggest to her, actually, oh, there you go. She's just, she's watching, and she thought it was a weirdo. You. We did suggest to her, actually, that perhaps, because she gave us a call from her car, she drove up the road and she gave us a call, and she's like, she's out the front. And I was like, what? And she's like, I'm dropping off the basket. She's out the front. What do you want me to do? And I had you in mind, and I was like, just run in, like commando roll, drop the basket and run back out. And Robin's like, no, I think you should just go and talk to her. I'm like, nah, I think she'll really appreciate it if you just run in, drop it, and run out.
I would have been wetting myself laughing if that had happened. Either would have been fine. But it was pretty funny. Made a new friend.
Yeah.
Over pink basket.
I actually really love that, because I said to Kate, I go, no, it's all about connection. So if she's in the front yard, let them connect. No one's connecting. Let them connect. Like, what's going to happen there? It's going to be great.
Yeah, so I'm always either in the kitchen or in the garden. So because my kids aren't in the garden and they leave me alone when I'm out there.
No. Yeah, no. Might give them weeding jobs otherwise.
No, no one's allowed to weed out there, because what they think are weeds are actually plants.
Yeah. It's their dinner tomorrow night.
I had learnt that trick when I was a kid, because that was our thing. We had to go out and weed the garden. I should have started pulling plants out. I just wasn't smart enough.
No, it's a very handy garden. Alison likes it. When they need tomatoes, they just walk up the street and
perfect.
Take some dinner and off they go.
And Marie did tell us that you were very kind, and also offered for her to come and collect herbs whenever she did from the garden, and told her where your cutting equipment is. So how lovely and community.
Thank you.
I love that story. It's awesome.
The secretaries live on the porch, because where else would they live? It's right next. And so, and the herbs have just gone crazy. So it's like, they're so expensive to buy a little bunch at the supermarket. You just want some. Like, I could literally supply everyone with herbs for the next year, and we'd all be good.
Oh.
What do you need? You tell me, and I'll drop it off at the shop.
All of it, all of the above, and puppies.
I will make you some rosemary salt.
Oh, no. Love rosemary.
For your roast taters.
Do it.
Oh, okay.
So, moving along with basket questions, how did you find out about the basket?
Well, I follow your Facebook page, and I saw the first post about the basket, and I was like, oh, a lovely idea.
Yeah, perfect.
What a really lovely way to get people to be involved in a joint craft project without giving each other germs, and share the love between people that don't necessarily know each other.
Yeah.
Like, because I can crochet with Alison, and before we went back into lockdown, we were hosting Crafternoon tea one Sunday a month at my house in the afternoon with Alison and myself and Kez and my sister and another friend, just on a Sunday afternoon, and just come over and whatever you're working on and hang out. And then, of course, we had to stop. It's just sometimes nice to get people to be together.
It
and
is.
I look at the puppy.
I know, sorry. Alison just started babying the puppy. So I love that. How come I've never had an invite to your afternoon teas?
You're welcome to come anytime whenever we come back on.
Mm.
I'll get Alison to organise it with you.
I'm in. I might even commando roll up your driveway.
There's kind of, you don't want to do that on my driveway. It's like this.
Oh.
It could end badly for you against the garage door. But
Oh.
if you want to come in summer, I run a bomb competition to find out who can do the best bomb into the pool. And so far, one of Blake's friends' mums is winning.
I've been working on my booty all lockdown, so I'm into that.
Bring it.
Sorry to hijack your chat about the basket. I'm just, you know.
Quite enjoying the conversation. It's awesome.
It's random.
So,
you never know what's going to come out of my mouth.
So the basket, it obviously brought you some joy. That was the next question. Did the basket bring you some joy this week?
It did, and it also brought me some peanut brittle and some chocolate crackles and some delicious body wash and a beautiful little handmade purse. Yeah, a bit spoiled.
Well, I have popped some pictures of the basket being at your door finally today, Instagram, and hopefully they went across to Facebook.
They did. Yeah, they did. I saw. And at the new person's door.
Yes, and they're now at a new person's door.
Already.
Yes, they're already there, and we are now taking emails for whoever would like the basket next. If you're in 10 kilometres of I've got Devereux Street Oak Park, it is, which is all in the socials on Facebook and Instagram. And just email us. Make sure you put the subject basket at your door. Otherwise, we get so many emails, I may miss it. And if people could share it on their socials, because we're getting a little bit further away each time now from Unwind, and it's nice to spread the word a little bit further so that we can make sure they don't have to be an Unwind customer. They just have to be someone who would benefit from having the basket turn up at their door, someone who enjoys crocheting or knitting and could do with a little bit of Unwind cheer. So you don't have to be a customer. You just need to be in the area that we're in, and just nominate them. So if you can pass that around to your socials, that will help us find lots of lovely people. I get the benefit of reading some beautiful emails of people that nominate themselves for the basket, and some of the stories are really, really lovely, and some people are really, really in need of some cheer right now. And the further we spread the word, the more people we can help cheer up their week. So when did you learn to knit or crochet, Andrea?
Well, I come from a very crafty family. So my grandma was a knitter and a crocheter, and my mum always had the clickety-clack knitting needles going, and so did my sister. But it appeared that gene had completely and utterly skipped me, because I was completely useless at it until Blakis was about to turn 1, and we had this brilliant idea, didn't we, Alison? That to have a bee party for the bee machine, and that we were going to knit bumblebee hats for all of the children. So poor Alison, the joy, Alison, of teaching me to knit. So I learned how to knit again, and I actually got the hang of it. Don't know how. Didn't kill anything, didn't stab myself. And then between Alison, my sister, and I, we knit 40 beanies for the little kids coming to the party. And then I decided that knitting was way too hard.
40?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. We have stupid ideas.
I don't know if 40 hats worries me more than you had 40 tiny people at your house as well.
Oh, no, it wasn't at home. We had it at a community centre in Kensington. We're not that daft. Not that daft. Although, having said that, I did have 35 kids once for a Star Wars party, but that's a different kind of stupid.
And they would have been boys too.
Mostly. Basket case, yeah, basket case. So yeah, then I decided I was going to learn to crochet, and of course Alison to the rescue again and taught me a little bit. And then we were driving down to Warrnambool. My husband had to go to Warrnambool for work, and we went, oh, let's all go. So what else do you do for 1,000 hours in the car on the way to Warrnambool? You learn to crochet.
Yeah, agreed.
And that was that.
Oh, perfect.
And now I'm slightly addicted, and it's all Alison's fault.
Yeah.
Because she used to come up for a cup of tea and have something to do all the time, whereas I was just eating.
Yeah.
Eating.
Hang on. Well, I managed to eat and knit at the same time.
We're very good at multitasking.
Yeah, see, I can't do that because I'm messy.
Really too good. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't have any COVID kilos, though, because I don't just eat all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I wish I didn't multitask sometimes.
Yeah,
me too.
No, too messy.
And do you have a first make that you have to share? Anything that you've made that you'd like to share?
It is not here. I think one of the first things, well, I don't have any of the beanies left because they've all gone to different houses. But the first thing I made outside of those beanies was a present for a friend's daughter. So it was a blanket because, of course, what else would you make? It was a dragonfly blanket. So alternating colours of squares. One had a dragonfly, one was plain dragonfly.
I know the one.
Yeah, and I've probably made about 15 of them since. So,
wow.
Yeah, most of the stuff I make, I give away as presents because why wouldn't you? In fact, one of my blankets went to England.
Oh, nice.
Well, there's so many blankets you can have, isn't there? Like, really.
And when you've got little boys, they don't necessarily want stuff. Like, they're not interested in blankets.
No.
So screw them. Stuff gets
Although there's some gorgeous little hand knit cable of Minkati patterns and stuff out at the moment.
Yeah. Look, Mum tried to give me hand knit stuff for the boys when they were little, but I had really bad postnatal depression, and the last thing I could think of was getting poo and spew off hand knitted things. It was too daunting and made me way too anxious, so that didn't happen at all. Yeah. It was just too easier just to go no.
Yeah.
No.
I still feel like that, don't worry. No, just throw that away. Can't do it.
Yeah. 2 rounds of postnatal depression, don't recommend it to anyone.
No,
it's the same thought when you get puppies. You don't want them to get their little claws in your good hand knitted stuff.
Or your weighted blanket.
And it's clearly ethically wrong to throw away your new puppy or your new baby, so you have to.
My blanket's always weighted, one of them or all three.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, pass a puppy.
Yeah.
And tell us about your square that you made for the blanket. It's gorgeous. It is, I think, in the social post. So
it was. I looked at all the other squares and they were all like pink based, and I'm like, I don't have any pink yarn. What am I going to do? And then I went, I've got stacks of blue, so I pulled out my Sirens Atlas, which I have to point out that I very cleverly bought in UK terms, even though I crochet in US terms. So every time I open the book, I have to mentally.
Learning experience.
Because I'm stupid. So it's got lots of writing in it. And I just picked one that was really.
Are you multilingual? It's not stupid. Multilingual. You've got to.
Yeah, it throws my brain every time. I'm like, huh? And then I turn it to the front and go, that's why I open it back up again. I'm not very clever. Don't know what I was thinking that day. I bought it from the shop in the wrong terms. So I just made a really pretty dark blue to cream square. And now one of my next projects is to make all of the squares in that book going from dark purple through to light purple. So I've got like violet and fruit tingle and a softer purple into parchment for Mum for her birthday next year.
Oh, that'd be gorgeous. Hope Mum's not listening.
No. And despite how beautiful it is, and Alison will agree with me here, I'm sure Mum will find something to complain about it.
Oh, no.
Alison's like...
There's some really nice, just in case you're looking, there's some really nice purple shades in the Wren as well, if you need some to just chuck it out a little bit.
Yeah.
some really nice purple tones in that. So check those out.
Nice.
And there's also the new Bendigo lighter purple that came out at the beginning of the year as well, or the last year.
But, you know,
I don't even know what year it is anymore. So there was a light purple that came out sometime or other.
Yeah.
Which is
who can keep track of what year it is?
No.
Give it
I think Emily's still 12, yeah? Are you still 12, Em? Like 15 now? 14 now? 15?
I actually, that happened to me at the park today when I finished up at work to meet Ollie at the park because I was in store today, and Ollie had, it's obviously a public holiday, but I was doing some back end stuff that sounded terrible. I know. I was doing some computer work.
Yeah, lots of crap.
Yeah, and I felt really bad that Ollie had to take the kids, to my two girls, to the park to hang out with the mums of all the girls that just happened to be there. And so I was like, oh, I'll meet you at the park then. And Betsy's friend left, and then I was left there sitting talking to Betsy going, oh, wow, you're not like 6 anymore. That is so weird. When did that happen, right? Because I think the last 2 years have been such a blur that all of a sudden you wake up and they're like a teenager.
Yeah, Zay's been like that. So when they started year 8, when we went into lockdown, and he wasn't a young man yet, and now he's people that he hasn't really seen in the last 2 years, he talks to them and they're like, oh,
yeah,
where did that voice come from? Or he's behind people and he would talk and I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, so bizarre, isn't it?
It's weird, isn't it?
That's a bit, and Emily's now a young lady, and it's like, oh, like what? She was my tiny little flower girl, and now she's.
Oh, that's
I remember when we first met her, and then we've seen Alison, like, I reckon 4 times over the last 2 years in person, if that. And then she was posting birthday things on Facebook recently of her children becoming teenagers, and I was like, what? No.
Yeah, one's nearly 18.
No, I don't think that. What?
What was that?
Matthew's going to be 18 soon.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, he'll be an adult.
Seeing his tiny little fellas for their poffages.
Yeah, Blake Blake couldn't say poffages. He used to call them possages.
Yeah. Literally, that is exactly what I'm envisioning when you talk about your kids.
Possages.
Yeah.
Oh, so cute.
No. Possages.
So just finishing up with these last couple of questions. What does unwinding bring to your life? As in, what does your crochet and your craft bring to your life?
So for me, it's a really good way of calming my mind. So my mind often goes in 27,000 different directions at once. I have no idea where my son gets it from, none at all. So I find for me, it's a form of meditation because it means I'm not thinking about everything else. And so it means I'm just focusing on the task at hand. It really helps my mental health because then I don't overthink things and I don't go off on different tangents and I don't create scenarios in my head that aren't real and I don't have conversations in my head that aren't real. I'm always right in my head, of course, but but for me, it's a really good way of being calm, and then I'm more present and more calm in other ways as well. So it's
So do you notice, this isn't one of the questions I normally ask, but do you notice if you haven't been doing your craft that you feel a bit different?
Yeah, look, I stopped for about a year and was doing other stuff, and I think it's just because I'd run out of things that I'd wanted to make, and I stopped for about a year, and then I went, oh, maybe I'll do that again. And I did actually notice that I started to my mind was calmer again. So once I dropped the Blake off at school, when he goes to school, I'll have a little bag in my car, and then because I go straight from home to school and then to the gym for a 9:30 session because I can't go home between, I'll sit in the car and I'll crochet if I don't have any errands to run, rather than scrolling through Facebook or listening to rubbish. I find that I'm more productive in my day, and then because I'm not looking at like people's curated lives on social media, I don't feel bad about myself, that, you know, I don't have the ideal body or the ideal house, or, you know, my husband doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth, or all of those, because wouldn't that be nice? Like all of those things, I find then that my mind frame is better. So because it gives me something real to do. And, you know, I can sit in the car and I made for a friend recently a circle blanket, so that we have the coloured middle bit and then the outside, and it ended up being 81 squares. And I made most of those circles sitting in the car. So in the 25, 30 minutes I was sitting in the car waiting for my gym session, I could make 5 or 6 circles.
Wow.
And for me, that is way more productive and a much better use of my time than spending half an hour scrolling through Facebook so that I feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
Or reading the news so that I feel bad about the world and how awful the people in the world are. Like, it's just a much better use of my time. So even now people are like, oh, what's happening in the world? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not to know sometimes. I totally 100% agree with that.
I'll find out about it later. Like if I need to know, someone will tell me.
Yeah, I feel like I was going to tell you if I'm wearing a mask or not wearing a mask or whatever the latest rules are. So
yeah, the best part of mask wearing is when you get a cold sore the size of Mount Vesuvius on your face, no one can see it.
Yeah. That is so true.
Yeah, there's always a plus somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, and no one can see my resting bitch face when it's on, because
well, we can, but you just can't see it muttering.
So my next question was actually, has unwinding helped you socially or improved your mental health? Well, I think you've totally answered most of that. And
and socially, I find that the unwind community, when you're up there, like I used to think, and this is going to sound really awful, that, you know, yarn hobbies were for old ladies, because in my mind that's what I'd always seen. So when I met Alison and she was doing these things, I was like, she's either really old or she's really cool. So, you know, and it was also, she didn't care what other people thought about her having this hobby that, like, back then, like, it's become quite cool in the last few years, but it has always did go through a period where it was something that old people did. It was a nana thing, and then all of a sudden it's become quite trendy. So I think socially, you go to unwind and someone's always happy to talk to you, or people are always, like when Marie dropped the basket off, people are always happy to talk to other people and connect, and there's never any judgment about anything. So you can go in wearing the weirdest things possible into the store and no one cares. You can go in, I've gone in the daggiest tracksuit pants. Remember, I came in after hip surgery last year and I'm on crutches in tracky pants and stuff, and no one cared. They were like, let's move this out of the way. And no one cares. It's just like, can I get you anything? Like, it's just a really nice, inclusive community where you could walk in with a unicorn on your head and everyone would just go, "What's unicorn?" And they wouldn't be like behind your back. They would actually be
making or what colours you're choosing for your next project.
I reckon my kids might mutter underneath their breath if walked in with a unicorn on their head.
Like, why can't I have one?
Yeah, like, oh, look at her.
And that's what we love about Unwind, and that's what makes it the place that it is.
It's a really nice, calm, welcoming place. And I've had a few days where I've been having really bad days and I haven't needed anything from the shop, but when you've been open, it's like, I'm just going to go up to Unwind and feel some squishy stuff, and there's always a friendly, welcome face, and more often than not you find something that you need, because, you know, it's soft and squishy, but it's just a really welcoming place.
And it's when we first found ourselves in this lockdown situation that, you know, quite some bizarre things were happening. You know, all of a sudden people would be accidentally at the shop at the same time, and people just felt like they needed to come to feel that vibe again, that place that made them feel comfortable. It was very,
and that's why the basket is such a good idea, because it brings you that in a very pink basket that gets delivered to your door by someone that you don't necessarily know, filled with love and gifts that they don't know if you like them or not, but these are the things that I really like. Let's just share that.
I love that.
It's really nice.
That's what I hoped would happen, so I'm feeling really pleased about the whole thing right now. It's just our way of trying to keep the community apart, like giving them a little bit of unwind while we can't be unwinding together. So
it's almost like you need to call it basket of love. at your door.
Well, when I thought of this idea this morning, I could sort of envision all this, but you never know how it's going to play out until you get out into the world. But it's funny; it seems to be doing exactly what I thought it would, and it'd be nice to even like post up. If I had a little bit more time, at the moment we've got a lot of things going on. I'd love to post up even the things that people have said to me about, you know, to receive the basket or after they've received the basket, or you know, all of that. There's just some really beautiful things, and that's what's giving us a lot of joy and helping us get through each week as well. So we feel really blessed to you know, to be part of it. So
how nice is it going to be to join all the squares up at the end, and then like, is it going to go to charity? Are we going to auction it off so that then the money goes to charity? Like,
we're going to be in the store for a while because we'd like everyone to see the blanket. They'll be able, at some point we'll have our doors open again and people will be able to come and see that. But I feel like the basket might have a place for quite some time to just travel around and do love, because we're all a bit scarred by what we've been through, and the community. And there's a lot of people that actually don't have an unwind in their life. You know, we're lucky. We have unwind down the road. There's a lot of people that don't. So it's a way of sharing that love a little bit further as well. And, just, you know, we'll see how it goes. I don't want to over-plan it because I feel like it always finds its own right way of finding.
And some people don't have that social connection like that. Some people, like I'm really fortunate. I have my Alison and my Kerry Ann, and I have friends that I walk with that I normally go to the gym with. So I have a really strong group of friends around me. But not everyone has that. And so
we saw that a lot with
connecting.
Yeah, we saw that a lot with Unwind. There would be some people that their coming once a week might be the only social interaction they'd have. And, you know, it given them more social connections. And, you know, we're privy to see all of these things that you probably sort of feel a little bit, but we've got to witness that over those years. You know, I could really talk about the beautiful things that have happened from there, the friendships that have been made, the connections people have made, the mental health benefits it's had. You know, it goes on and on, too much to even mention. But hopefully the basket helps fill that gap while we can't open our doors. And, you know, if it's brightening already 3 people's week and other people get to hear the story, it's doing it. It's doing what we intended. So
it's a really good idea. You guys should be really proud of the community that you've created.
Sometimes things will happen in the store and Kate and I will just look at each other and just go, oh yeah, only at Unwind, you know, some of the weird things that, like, you know, I'd come home and tell my husband and he's like, oh, and you'd sort of think they'd just go, what? But you know, it's quite confronting, you know. You'll get people that may have travelled. I remember a really, really terrible winter's day, and these people travelled from well past Mornington, somewhere on the Mornington Peninsula, to come to the store. The store was chockers. There was no room in the store, so I had to pull out some table that was from out the back, and they sat down and had their Devonshire tea. They would be devastated if they couldn't have had it because they'd driven over 2 hours. So I literally made this little spot for them. They had their Devonshire tea, but they were connected with all these people in the store. When they got up to leave, they went and said goodbye to everyone in the store, which happens quite a lot. And then they came up to me and they just said, that was so worth driving 2 hours for. I've never felt so part of something in my life. And that really, you know, really sticks with you. There's lots of moments like that. That's one that really sort of sticks with me. So hopefully the basket can help share that love around while we can't do what we normally do. Now, my next question is, what would you say to someone who is thinking of starting a yarn craft?
A, don't tell your husband. B, get a Swiss bank account because you're going to need the cash. Hire a locker somewhere to store all your stashing. I guess I'm saying do it. Like, and it's not something that you start out and you're not perfect. So another friend of ours, Jess, decided that she wanted to learn how to crochet, and she's like, oh, I'm crap at this, and I'm just like, no one is good at this to start with. So Jess is the one I made that pink blanket for, Kate. That's her.
Did I tell you she came in?
Yes, she told me, and you were like, you.
I was like, oh, I don't know whether or not to be excited or pissed off right now that you're the one that got the blanket.
Yeah, she loves that blanket. So she's like, oh, look, and I'm just like, I wasn't good when I started. I was probably terrible. I don't know how Alison didn't kill me. I was so daft. But, you know, she just kept at it, and I kept saying, don't try and make a pattern to start with. Just practice the stitches. Like, just practice and practice and practice. And when you can do that, then get a pattern. Like you don't just go, oh, I'm going to make a souffle today. I've never cooked before. Like, you start out with a cupcake.
Yeah.
You know, start small. Like,
surprised what some people do. Like, honestly, we're never would say we're surprised. Some people do the most amazing things.
Like make 40 beanies when they've never knitted before.
But there you go. You know, start small, Andrea. Yeah, I'll just make
it was
40.
a beanie.
Yeah.
40
knit two peltu, and I didn't even get that right. Oh, I've done 3 rows wrong. Pull it out.
Well,
Yep.
individual. So what did you enjoy most about the Unwind Basket project?
It was nice to do something for a project that was part of a community, and that could be anything that you wanted it to be. Like, even though everything else was there in pink, it didn't matter that I did something that was blue in it. And it wasn't a competition. It's not a competition to see who can do the most elaborate thing. Right. It's just a contribution, a little piece of your heart to go into something that's for the bigger community. And that was really nice, because there is so much disconnection at the moment, and people are feeling so alone. But you get that basket and you pull out these little squares, and they're not just squares of yarn, they're little squares of love and community that just, oh, sorry, Kate. And you thought I was going to be a madcap crazy woman. And that's like little bits of love that connect everyone. And when that blanket's finished and you touch it, it's just going to be this big hug of love.
Getting goosebumps now.
Oh, I know.
I'm sorry, I'll just be zany and madcap next time. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's what it felt like. Like, I pulled out and was like, oh, and yes, it's soft and squishy, but it's soft and squishy for your heart as well. And it just, felt really nice to have all these squishy squares, but then all the lovely stuff and the letter that Marie put in there as well, like from someone that I've never met before. I've never even met at the shop, and it was just, oh. And I said to Alison, I've got the basket. I'm a little bit excited. I know. It was really nice to be able to be a part of it. And, you know, once it's done full circle and starts running out of stuff, I'm happy to put my hand up and do more. Like, I can even meet Carrie Ann at that market and give it to her, and she can put stuff in.
Ooh. I think that you've summed it up perfectly, really. Like, and
just everything we hoped for when I thought of it at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was what said was everything I was hoping it would be. So each week the basket brings someone joy, and we get to hear all about the joy that brings. Let's face it, there's not much joy to be spoken about at the moment. So if it's a basket with a cute little crochet squares in it, and it's bringing a little gift to someone who, it doesn't have to be anything big, it's just that someone else has thought to bring you something, to bring you joy. That's all we thought we wanted to do.
And I didn't have anything fancy at home to put in the basket for the present for the next person. I went out in the garden, and of course I cut some herbs and some flowers, and
I saw that.
Look gorgeous. If you look at the photo in our socials, you'll see the basket, the gorgeous happy pink basket with a little cute, beautiful bunch of flowers on it. What would not make it about
like
that?
Those flowers, if you put all those herbs in water, they'll sprout and they can be planted.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's like continuing love.
Like that rosemary will definitely grow roots and be able to be planted.
Yeah, well, there you go. So so thank you so much for being an awesome basket lady and sharing all about your creative journey and what the basket brought to your week. It's been a pleasure having you there, and thanks for sharing with us tonight.
Pleasure. I just want to say thank you to Alison for introducing me to being a crazy craft lady. She's the bestie for a reason.
Yeah, no regrets.
Oh, stop it. You two are going to cry.
No, we're sickening, aren't we? She was my bridesmaid at my wedding as well, because I'd only known her. How long had I known you then? About a year, 2 years by then?
I met you when Zabe was 3. Nearly.
You're not even,
not quite 3. And you got married when he was not quite 6.
Not even 5, because Blake was 18 months old.
Yeah. So not that long.
Wow, you guys must be so old.
Well, I'm going to make Alison host my 50th at her house, just saying.
Which is only fair because when I turned 40, it was meant to be, my party was meant to be at my house, and I got sick the week before.
Oh, God.
And Andrea stepped up and said, okay, you've got two choices. I can come to your house and clean it top to bottom and you can have the party at your house, or we can just do it at my house. And so she hosted my 40th. So I get hosted.
Oh, that's
We didn't have to change the invitations. It's 2 houses away.
Yeah, we just turned everybody up and went, don't go to 1A, go to number 3.
We all need a friendship like that in our lives.
I know. Everyone's moving into Andrea and
especially in summer. Come in summer.
Yes, love that. Hey, I've got one more question for you, Andrea. How was the beautiful pink basket in a house that is predominantly full of boys?
They didn't touch it.
Didn't grade round with it.
No, it was actually a nice spot of pink. I still love it when Emily used to come up when she was little and everything would be pink. I didn't like it when she bought Barbie movies though. That was not cool. She would come up and it would be this pink explosion and purple explosion running through my house, and that was really sweet. Yeah. I did actually buy recently floral and pink face masks because I knew that no one would steal them.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good idea. Well done.
Mm-hmm. Anything I want to hide, I need to get one of those pink baskets, and no one goes. Even the dog, who's a girl, was just going, I'm not touching that.
Cute. I love it.
Oh, that's perfect.
Nice.
Well, it was awesome chatting with all that adventure. It's made my night and finished off a pretty crap week with a happy note. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.